over here in Costa Rica, people that are in law school usually, well, I believe it's pretty much everywhere in the world. Everyone that is or goes to law school starts their career off early as paralegals or as administrative assistants as law firms. So I basically found myself in the need of starting my career early off, because there is this concept over here in Costa Rica that if you're in law school and you finish the career and you have no experience in your CV or your resume, that is not going to be good for you. So I was 4 years already into law school with 2 years left, which is why I just started applying, and there were not as many positions available as I would thought that there would be, and there were two jobs that I applied for, and one did not respond. The other one did respond, which was for the law firm that I started working in mobility as a paralegal for immigration law. And ironically enough, it was a specialized firm in immigration law, and I am a resident here in Costa Rica. I'm not Costa Rican. I'm actually from Mexico, which was kind of funny. And I ended up loving it and liking it and specializing in immigration law. So, yeah.
Hi, my name is Kaori Kobayashi, and I'm head of global mobility and immigration at DocuSign. I started my global mobility journey almost 20 years ago. I was looking at what I wanted to do in terms of career, and I actually went into mobility knowing that that's what I wanted to do. I happened to get a job at KPMG doing tax returns for expats, and that was my intro into the mobility world. I had grown up as part of an expat family, and so I knew all the ins and outs of relocating from one country to the other. But tax was a whole new world for me. I spent a lot of time there. I was with KPMG for 18 years, and last year I had the opportunity to move into an industry role where currently I'm heading the mobility and immigration team at DocuSign.
So I believe my global mobility journey started back in 2008 when I had the opportunity to relocate myself from Colombia to the United States. I was fortunate enough to attend a very diverse university in Anchorage, Alaska, where I had the opportunity to meet and interact with people from all over the world, which I think really made an impact and really sparked an interest in me to try to find a career or an industry that was international related. However, I didn't know that such a career or industry existed back then. It was until later on in college, after I finished where I started looking for jobs, that I realized that there was a position in Colorado to work for a relocation company as an international assignment consultant. And so I decided to apply, and that's where my story started. Here I am, 8 years later. I truly enjoy working in this industry. It has been a very rewarding career.
Prior to my recent in-house global mobility role, I was, primarily involved in the world of global mobility through the lens of a global immigration lawyer. But now that I've made this transition into in-house global mobility, it has opened up a whole new world to me in terms of collaborating with other key stakeholders of the company to accomplish a shared goal, whether it be expansion into new countries, mergers and acquisitions, just providing guidance to the business. It really allows me to learn more about tax and relocation and global travel, and just how we all have to work together to really advance the goals of the business.
Okay, my name is Menal Safouri. I'm originally from Egypt. I'm currently working as a senior global mobility advisor for EMEA region. I came across this career when I started working in one of the multinational companies as an admin assistant, and one of my roles was to support the immigration team. Fortunately, I came I came to understand what is global mobility from my interaction with the immigration team. And what happened, fortunately, I was the position was vacant after a couple of months, and then I applied for this position, and I came as an immigration specialist, interacting more closely with the global mobility team. Actually, it was very challenging for someone from Egypt, because Egypt is a country where you cannot have a lot of expatriates due to immigration rules and restrictions in the country. So it was very challenging career to join, and it's not common in this part of the world.
Yeah, so I don't believe our industry is best served by knowledge held in silos, or by rivalry, or by competition. I choose the opposite, that in order to advance the global mobility function, I think that we should cooperate and benchmark and share information to bounce ideas off each other, to push technology and help lift each other up, so that people everywhere might have what was given to me, I think, an immigration that could change their life, or at the very least, a rewarding experience. The global mobility world, to me, is very tiny in contrast to most other corporate functions, and the need to network and meet people and create powerful relationships more important than ever. I think that GMJ does a great job at keeping the heart of this connection alive across global mobility professionals around the entire world. And because it separates your job title and the company that you work for with you as a person and a professional. And to me, and for that, it's refreshing in the sense that the mission is less often about this is how important I am to the company that I work for, and more often, hey, how do we improve together in global mobility?
My mobility story. So prior to entering the mobility space, my HR experience had been in employee benefits. So about 17 years ago, I was actually a referral into Deloitte, where I began my mobility career. So while the mobility concepts in general were very new to me, I had previously had experience basically supporting employees through major life events, such as retirement. So for me, mobility was a natural transition and an opportunity to learn something new, but still relate back to that background of supporting employees through major life events.
Well, I think it's similar to a lot of folks where you just kind of fall into it. I was given a project when I was in HR compliance to improve the compliance related to immigration, and which I did and successfully completed that. And then that just led into being moved over into the global mobility realm when we created a global mobility team.
Okay, that sounds great. So my love of all things international comes from an early age. We lived abroad and moved quite a lot when I was a child. And so that led me to a journey of wanting to travel and learn more about the cultures and people around the world. So I majored in both undergraduate and graduate school in international studies, international affairs, as we called it, and received my degrees. From my first job, which was in a nonprofit group supporting international business in the Dallas area, then I learned about the role at one of the Big Four firms. So I will tell you, it was quite interesting, quite eye-opening when I started that first position. Because first, before that interview for that position, I didn't even know that global mobility existed. I didn't know it was the thing that people did, that companies needed. I guess I should have known if I had thought, about it any length of time. But there's so much, some very unique, customized calculations. And I remember sitting in a conference room with some people, and we've got these calculations up on the board for how they did essentially their cost of living allowance calculations. But we're trying to work through the math of how they did it, why they were doing it. It was quite interesting. Those days, I'm going to date myself, it was actually so old that we kept the cost of living data in big binders. So to do a calculation, you'd have to go pull binders to get spendables and differentials and all these, indices, and actually sit down and do all the calculations by hand, or on the computer, but through using paper books to get the data. And so it was a great time. It was a great initial learning experience, and definitely opened my eyes to all of the work that goes into being in the mobility field. And it's just, again, the breadth and depth and width of the knowledge that you have to be effective in mobility has been a lifelong journey throughout my adulthood from there, but definitely a great initial learning experience.
So what is your mobility story, Xiuming?
So my view of mobility was that we actually create the relocation program and to support the business to move people while ensuring the team members' experience. I must say that that view that I have is pretty tactical. I have been in this role for more than 5 years, and in the last 5 years, I actually observed several transformations happening to the global mobility profession. So recently, we conducted a survey with our leaders and the team members who relocated, because we do want to get an overall picture of how mobility actually supports the company objectives to determine if mobility aligns with the talent strategy and also identify areas of opportunities. So indeed, I would say that mobility is considered by the leadership as being very critical in filling the talent gap, training for the specific positions and projects, and also attracting the talent. So I must say that what I've observed today is very different. We are definitely having a seat at the table with the talent acquisition, with the business partners, and even leaders when they have a specific business need, and in discussing the deployment of the business plans and talent.